We're just getting older, world is getting colder. Trying to get sober, Lord help me get stronger. How you doing today? This is the 12 of 12 podcast, the podcast about real life, recovery, growth and development, redemption, because that's what this is about. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, tap that subscribe button and share for more. Also, if you or a loved one that you might know needs any help with substance abuse disorder or severe mental illness, don't wait, don't hesitate to reach out to our sponsors, First Step Recovery. You see the numbers up top? Do not hesitate to reach out to it, share it, refer it to somebody who you know that needs the help. And First Step Recovery will be happy to help you. We have a special guest today, Patrick.
Hey, how y'all doing?
How you doing, brother, man? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Clean this over. First step saved my life. So,
That's a blessing right there. It's a great thing when you're in the business of saving lives, and that's one thing that First Step is known for doing, and they have joy in doing it. Where are you from, brother?
Well, I'm from here in Louisville, Kentucky. I was born in Lexington, Kentucky. My family moved up here. My grandmother came and got me from Lexington, Kentucky, and moved me up here with them. So I've been here my whole life.
That's nice. So you got any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I got a brother, but he got killed, out there in the madness, and I got a younger sister.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. How did that affect you when your brother lost his life?
Well, it really affected my whole life, and my outlook on life. I really hated myself, because I never wanted to face pain, deal with pain, and I always dealt with pain with using and stuff like that, but it only made it worse. I lost my daddy and my brother 2 weeks apart from each other. So, and I was in prison. So when I got out, that just put me on a, well-known spree, I was snorting cocaine, I was smoking crack, I was smoking meth and snorting meth, and it led me to have a heart attack. So, and I realized pain, no one's exempt from pain. No one's exempt from pain. And, I realized, I have to deal with some things, as far as like now, therapy and stuff like that. But yeah, it sent me on a spree, and, I almost lost my life.
Man, that's deep. I'm sorry for all those losses, and you don't look that old. You look kind of young, and have a heart attack that young, of a stress in the life you're living. It's a lot of people who I interviewed who came on here who ended up having heart attacks at such a young age. Not only on top of the stress and the unforgiveness, which I feel personally is like a lot with it's kind of like a cancer. Spiritually tears you down, tears you apart, and they actually have something that's called a broken heart syndrome.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know about that. You might just be going through something so intensified, so much stress, you'll put the strain on your heart. And then you have a broken heart syndrome where the valves start closing up, some is not getting the blood, and all has to do with your emotions. So you can literally stress yourself to death.
Yes.
To the point of heart failure. It's a true thing. Look it up. Broken heart syndrome. Not making this up, folks.
Yeah.
So, and on top of that, with drug use and things, I can imagine that it just did a toll on your body and your mind. And you were locked up at the time?
Yes.
How long were you doing at the time when you had that loss?
I'd done 3.5 years, and right at around about the last 6 months or something like that. That happened, and it just emotionally tore me apart, and so I advise anybody that, experienced death and stuff like that, talk to somebody, speak to somebody about it. I held all of these things in, and then when I get out, I took and used to try to cover up from the pain, and when I should have been seeking some kind of counseling or some kind of help, but I didn't understand. I didn't realize where all this was coming from, but now I do, so I'm gonna continue to put one foot in front of another, and speak to my therapist and stuff like that to deal with these problems I have going on.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And that's an important thing. And a lot of people, one thing about it, we put God first. But God also allows therapists to be there for you to talk to also. You know what I'm saying? It's so important because a lot of men don't like to try to seek therapy. People feel like in society a man just has to be this big macho guy, you know, just you're supposed to just take every single thing that comes your way and you're just supposed to deal with it. Like I see things on the internet so crazy to me. They be like, yo man never cry. Listen, if you're gonna shed a tear, you shed a tear.
Right.
We are not machines. The Lord Christ, God Almighty in the flesh, He even wept. Everybody cries. I don't care who you are. The most gangster person will shed tears, even if it's not in front of nobody. It happens. And if it happens to fall in front of somebody, you really need to check that person because you know what? That person's going through something and that person needs help.
Yes.
Them shedding tears in front of you might be like, you know what, man, I cry for help. But people these days just look at it like it's just supposed to be so hard. You know what I'm saying? Or it makes you look soft. At the end of the day, you don't know what a person been through in life.
Right.
You don't know what a person did. Person could have been fighting literally their entire life, been through a lot of shootouts. I had people who I know went to war. I done been through PTSD. I know I had PTSD. So it was like, I done went through a lot of situations, man. Seen a lot of people get killed, been involved in a lot of things like that. So it's like, you know what? You're gonna tell these person here they soft because they're shedding tears. It makes them less of a man because they shed tears. No, that person needs help. Be there for them. Be there for each other. Be human beings. It seems like people are just heartless out there.
That's right.
You know, and it's a bad thing. And like I said, man, I put God first because once you put God first, you stop caring about what other people think.
Yes.
You know, forget what everybody else think. What does God think about me now? You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah. Not only that, crying is a cleansing. You know, it makes you feel better after you let out those tears. You know, whatever situation that caused you to do this or cry, and it don't make you a less of a man. You know, to shed a tear. If I have a problem and I need to cry, I'ma cry. Guess what? I got a support group right now that's gonna be there for me. I got a hell of a sponsor. So I know. You know what I'm saying. But I used to be the type of person that take and I hold everything in, and then when something little pops up, I explode on people, and that's not the way to be, you know what I mean? So if you're having a situation, talk about it with somebody, develop your support group, with your sponsor or whoever it may be, or whoever you go to AA with or whatever, or if you're not into AA, you got to have some kind of support, somebody to talk to about your problems, because if you don't, it's just going to build up and make you explode. So, I just advise y'all to do that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because now that's what I'm doing today. You know what I mean? I realize that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? In order to keep my sanity, Not
fast, man. That's an important thing, man, because I used to have like anger issues. I just get mad at times, man. I used to fight a lot too. Yeah. And it was just like, man, you know what? I had to look into myself, be like, what's going on? This trauma, this pain on the inside. I'm masking it with alcohol, masking it with drug use. I'm like, yo, you know what? Masking it with, I just want to party, to the point where I can't stand being in the house because I'm feeling like I'm locked in and the walls are closing down on me. So I'm like, I just got to be outside. It's things that I'm going through that I need to be able to work out. I need someone to talk to. I need somebody to pray with. I need something besides myself because I can't do it myself. And even with me putting God first, I still had to get that outside help with somebody, another human being, to be able to interact with, to be able to get that emotion off and just to be able to talk. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And deal with it. And then you're able to find out, man, you know what, man, you haven't forgave this person here, man. Yeah. You know what? I haven't forgiven that person. I'm still holding anger because of what this person did to me so many years ago. I'm so angry with what this person did to me in this relationship, and they broke my heart. I'm so angry that this person stole from me, or this person jumped me, or this person crossed me, or whatever it is, man. I was even angry at God.
Yes,
and that was a big thing. Yes. I was even angry at God. I had to forgive God. Yes, people, you had to forgive God too, because a lot of people blame God for situations that happen in their life. I had to forgive myself for a lot of things, and that's what people got to do. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I believe in the big thing is forgiving God, and the other one is forgiving yourself.
That's right.
Because man, you done did some bull crap, man, and you like, you know what, man? I just don't feel like anybody would ever forgive me.
Right, man. I used to, worry about what everybody else thought about me. how they viewed me, you know, and I always sold drugs, you know what I'm saying, and had money and stuff like that. And I always would keep a whole lot of people around me that was just taking, you know. In the midst of all this, you know, I find myself start using the drugs and alcohol and stuff like that to cover up from the pain, you know, of my parents leaving me when I was a kid, you know, like, so, but I just want to say this too, you know, my grandparents raised me, and there's nothing that them old people could really do. You know what I'm saying? I was out of control. You know, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, you know, where I saw a whole lot of drugs and stuff being sold. And I was the kid that I always run up to them, hey, give me $1, man, give me $1. You know, give me $1, you know what I'm saying? Or I stand around them and hung around the older crowd, you know. So at a young age, I developed this hustle mentality. And, you know what I'm saying, I didn't want to live that way, you know what I'm saying, or be that way, but you know, the drugs and alcohol just took over my whole life. You know, I was real good at sports, you know, and you know, I believe if I'd have stayed to it, I could have made it to the NFL. And you know, but I don't look back and say this. I don't say this anymore. I don't say I wish, you know what I'm saying, I should have continued to play sports. I'm gonna let my past be one of my greatest assets today. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna reach back and help somebody else, you know, to stay clean and sober. But I gotta just do it for myself one day at a time, you know, and I'll be able to reach that goal, reach back there and help somebody else.
Amen, brother. Yeah, that's so important. You're not letting the past dictate your future.
Right.
See, so many people, they're just stuck. You know, I mean, I wish I could change this, but you know what? What happened, happened.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that everything's written from the beginning, so it's not like God didn't know what we were gonna do before it happened.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that God doesn't have a plan for you right now.
Yeah.
You know, some of the people had bright futures. What they seen was there, but you know what? Just imagine, you know, you could have been over here, but if what you've been through, you're able to help more people than you ever thought.
Yes.
You know, and God knew it took a strong person to go through what you've been through, you know, to be able to overcome that.
Yes.
And then have the strength in, not only the strength, but the love in your heart. Because when you start giving back to other people, especially you went through what you went through, you can relate more.
Yes.
You know, just imagine someone who never went through these situations and you're trying to talk to them about drug use, but you ain't never used drugs.
Right.
You're trying to talk to them about, hey, you could do better when you get out of prison. You ain't never been to prison.
Right.
How can you relate any type of way, shape, or form and tell me what I need? Because you read a book? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and that's why people's struggles are so important. Because when God uses you to give back and tell your testimony, that's why your testimony is so important. Even people coming on this podcast telling that you will never know how God's going to use you to reach somebody else who might have lost their brother who got killed, or lost their dad in the same time, or lost their parents and had to be raised by grandparents, didn't have no parents, or whatever happened, you know what I'm saying? Or had good parents and then they turned bad, and then who knows, just so much different things happen in everybody's life. But it's always situations that you could find somebody else who been through that same type of situation, because there's nothing new under the sun.
Yes.
So when you do that, and then you're doing like what you said, you found out what was going on with you. You was able to work that and give back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you found out and you was able to get that healing that you needed, taking it one day at a time.
Yes. Yes. Also, you know, I used to do this, you know. I'm gonna say what happened, what kept happening over and over and over again. I kept going around old people, going around those old resorted places and doing some of those old resorted things, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, so if you out there and you going around old people that's doing the same thing, it's hard to change. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you know what I'm saying, that's all you might know, or that's all that, you know what I'm saying, that you're accustomed to. Birds of a feather, man, they flock together. You know what I mean? Right. And you know what I'm saying? I'm here to tell you that I'm living witness of that. So, you know, but here's what I kept doing. I would go to jail, I would get out of jail, and I would go right back around the same people that's selling drugs, the same people that's using drugs, the same people that's whoremongering and just doing everything. And then I would find myself right back there again, right back getting high, right back selling drugs again. You know what I mean? So, you know, like, so I advise you, you know what I'm saying, you know, get with some healthy people. You know, like now, that's what I'm doing. You know, I surround myself around healthy people, you know what I mean? I mean clean people, you know, people that's doing the right thing, people that's trying to live right, people that's actually reach back and helping somebody else, you know. So, but you know what I'm saying? I always did this too. I start going good, and I start looking in the rearview mirror, you know what I mean? Like in that rearview mirror, it ain't nothing but darkness, you know what I mean? It's anger, resentment, selfishness. I can just keep going on and on, but on this other side, you know what I'm saying? I got peace, you know what I'm saying? I'm honest, you know what I'm saying? I work with integrity today, you know what I mean? So all of these things, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to live back there in the dark, but if I keep looking back there behind me, I can't see what's ahead in front of me. So I advise y'all, you know what I'm saying? Whoever, you know what I'm saying? Stop looking in the rearview mirror. It's over. It's past. It's gone with. You can't change it. You know what I'm saying? Reach forward for your future, because I am. Real talk.
Amen. You know what? That's some real stuff. It's funny what you're saying about, not funny, but I mean, like, it's that analogy is such a great thing. And I always take it back to the Bible. People who done seen it for a while. Remember Lot's wife. She looked back to Sodom and Gomorrah, died.
Yeah.
If you're driving a car, and you're not paying attention to what's in front of you, and you start looking in that rearview mirror, and you don't look at that road and realize where you're going, what's gonna happen? You're gonna be so focused on what's going on behind you. Dang, what's going on? Look in front of you, boom. Head first, crash, gone. All type of people hurt. Type of people might have lost their life.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're paying attention to what's back there. No, you need to pay attention to where you're going.
Right.
And birds of a feather do flock together. And one more thing that it says in the word, it says two can't walk together unless they're in agreement. This is the word of God. It's the truth. Where you think they got the bird of feather flock together from? The Bible says two can't walk together unless they're in agreement. So choose wise who you deal with. So it's as simple as this. If you're hanging with this person who's out here selling drugs, you're agreeing with that lifestyle. Even if you don't think it, your mindset is in the same mindset they're in because they're selling drugs. If two can't walk together unless they're in agreement, I'm agreeing with you. And that drug dealer is agreeing with you because you're agreeing with him. So y'all on the same frequency. You're hanging with that gangster. You're hanging with this person, that alcoholic, that drug user, that murderer. You're hanging with people who just doing foul, even with pedophilia. You got these people who always get wrapped up in pedophilia rings and stuff like that. Why is that? Because they're all in agreement. Be careful where you lay your head at, the people around it, relationships.
Yes.
Because if you already seeing that y'all not on the same path, you're unequally yoked, it's already not going to work. Don't be dealing with this person if you're on this spiritual walk and they're not on the spiritual walk you're on.
That's right.
And y'all clashing, you trying to make something work because you got a soul tie and you don't even like this person like that. You just connected what you feel like it. Disconnect yourself from all the negativity out. Find your direction because your direction ain't in the past. Past already happened. You can't take back what you done did. You can't take back what happened, but you could change what's going on in the future. You could do certain things to start paving that road. You could make that left, make that right, go straight, but it's no going back. Man, what was it that point in your life that you decided, you know what, I want to make that change?
Well, for me, I'm tired of going to jail, prisons, and institutions. I don't like, what drugs and alcohol do to me once I put it in me. I'm tired of the feeling. I'm 45 years old and I got at least 32 years, 34, 33 years out there in the streets just running, just doing whatever the hell, I wanted to do. And would go to prison. I've been to prison 5 times, just to let y'all know. You know what I mean? This ain't my first rodeo, so I say that, hoping I can be able to help somebody so y'all can catch yourself before you end up like me. I'm 45 years old. I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I'm staying in a sober living house trying to get my life back together. Now, but the drugs and alcohol, that it changed my life, It changed the person. It changed the person from my dreams, what I wanted to be because I was growing up. I wanted to be a professional football player, but I didn't, but the jails and stuff like that, I'm sick of it. I started to feel like I'm institutionalized, but I would get there and I would hate it, and I would pray to God and stuff, and get close to God while I'm locked up, and then I would turn around, get out, and I would turn my back on God. I would turn my back on God, and the things that I've done, in the past, far as like committing crimes, you know, I should be put away for a life sentence. You know, I done got away with a whole lot of stuff that, you know what I'm saying, that I got to take to God, you know, I hadn't yet. But so I thank God for that, you know, but and another breaking point, you know, I'm tired of going to jail and prison. I got shot. Dude, this is the records of my past. You know, I got shot because I was running my mouth, you know. And you know, when I use, I get tough. I'm not afraid of anything. You know, let somebody pull out a gun today, I'ma run. I'm just being honest, you know. So
that's right.
But yeah, you know, I just now, you know what I'm saying, I just can't live like that no more. I'm tired of doing jail time, and I don't like what the drugs and alcohol do to me. I don't even look the same, you know. But I got shot, you know what I'm saying, and I lost a lot of weight. You know, I got down to like 140 pounds or something like that. I could see every bone in my body, you know, and so, and I turned myself into a treatment center. And I was experiencing sicknesses, you know, if I was like throwing up. And it got so bad, I couldn't use the restroom. I was throwing up feces out of my mouth. I'm gonna share this and then I'm gonna shut up about it. Through a tarot card reading. It's this guy named Anthony Judge. So thank you, Anthony, also. He done a tarot card reading, but I don't even remember what two of them said. He kept begging me to do it, and I was like, nah, I don't believe in that. You know, I figured it was of the devil and stuff like that. So I didn't let him do it for like 2 or 3 days, and then I finally said, okay, well, come on, you know. And I've had to pick 3 cards. Well, I picked the first one. The first one said, your life is going to be flipped upside down, calling out to a power greater than yourself. That's what I had been doing, praying to God, you know what I'm saying, praying to God, please help me. You know, you didn't see me this far, you know what I'm saying, just for me to die off. You know, what I need to do? I'll change my life, you know, if you just help me, you know, stuff like that. This is what I've been praying to God. Then the second card said, you got divine intervention of your past experiences. Share it. Seek help from a mentor or counselor for guidance. You know what I'm saying? Share my story, you know. I can't really remember what the third card said because it was a little off. But so I realize now, you know what I'm saying, I'm to a point where I want to share my story, you know what I mean, with the world. I believe I can help a lot of people. You know, I want to help some young people, you know, that's you know, that don't have their parents in their life like I did, you know, try to get them out of the streets, you know, and stuff like that, and try to just turn them another direction.
Mm-hmm. I know that's right. Start turning other people to another direction.
Yes.
Put God first. Don't turn away from God. See how fast you do that, and then you start going down. You start paying attention to everything that's going on, just like Peter. You start sinking. Pay attention.
Yes.
Look forward. God got a path for you. You just got to continue to follow it, no matter how hard it is right now. No matter if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, and you're just starting over. It's okay. Don't give up. You might not be at the place. You're not in a competition with nobody else. Just do better for yourself. Do better for yourself, and then you're able to help somebody else out once you're able to help yourself out. And a lot of people, they make a mistake with like, you know what, I'm going to be in competition with the next man. They see what this person got. They want it so fast. They're trying all this other stuff to try to get it. And then they're not reaching that point. Then they get discouraged and they think, you know, they're drinking again.
Yes, yes.
They think, you know, they're using again. They think, you know, they're like, I want that. No, don't covet nobody else's stuff. Just be content where you're at and know your journey is your journey. Your journey is what you're going through. Doesn't mean it's what everybody else is going through. But if they relate to it, that's a way that you can help them out once you actually help yourself out.
Yes.
Now, what are some of the plans that you have for the future?
Well, the plans I have for the future is complete this program. You know, I should have like a month, maybe a little bit over a month left. I'm working on getting my peer support so I can reach back and help other alcoholics and drug addicts as well. And, you know, like what you do. And I want to be like a youth counselor or something like that. Eventually, I want to branch off and get my CDACs, open up some recovery houses and stuff like that. And I know as long as I stay around people like you and Steve and people like that, that's got their own stuff going, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to succeed too, you know.
Yes, sir.
But my ultimate goal is to help somebody else, you know what I mean, to do God's will. It was the way God spoke to me, but that's exactly what I want to do. You know, also, that's where I feel comfortable at. You know what I mean? I get so much joy out of helping somebody else. You know, it don't matter if it's $1 or just a kind word or just a listening ear. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's all we want somebody to do is listen. You know, so if you under that, you know what I'm saying, you know, you can reach out to me. You know what I mean? I'll listen to you, and I give you a word of advice too. You know.
So definitely, once you get the help, you reach out, help other people, and that's what we're here to do. We're reaching out, we're helping you. Thanks so much for coming on, Patrick, man. I appreciate you telling your testimony, telling your story, brother.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you would like to tell to the people before we wrap it up?
Yes, I would just like to say, you know, that you know, just continue on the path of righteousness. You know, if there's anything I can do, you know, you can reach out to me, whoever sees this, and if you like it, share it on your page. You know, I want to reach out to help a lot of people. So, but you know, just continue on the path of righteousness. You know what I mean? One day at a time.
One day at a time. One day at a time. One step at a time. Take your first step today. You already know. Stay tuned for more. We're going to continue to grow together. Stay sober. We're going to stay sober with you. Stay true. We're going to stay with you. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Peace.